My girlfriend, 32, F, and I, 35, M, cannot see eye to eye on setting boundaries with her friend. My girlfriend and I have been together for almost 2 years now. We've had our differences, but this one is possibly going to split us up. This past Sunday, one of her longtime friends drunkenly sent her tons of voice messages, just rambling about dumb stuff. But he then started to veer off into disrespectful territory. The portion in question goes something like, "I'm horny as fuck right now. I know I'm going through some shit and I'd normally go to my sister for advice, but not in my current mood. I need a female friend. Some womanly advice, but also someone to, haha. But we don't have to get into that shit right now. You're not part of that, but you should still come over. I'm alone, and very lonely, and would like you to be here. Can you come over right now to talk?" He then sends his address. At this point, I'm upset at how he's speaking to her. It's absolutely disrespectful. She makes the point that she can't control what people say to her, but I point out that she can control how she reacts. I ask her to establish boundaries with this guy, and that he can't speak to her like that. There's absolutely no reason a man should be randomly telling someone that he's horny as fuck, and she should come over right now, but totally not to fuck, but he is in a mood, and would like her company to just talk and ask for advice. I leave to have a smoke and to calm down, only to return to see that she texted him something. I asked if she responded, and she showed me, along the lines of, "I'm with family, and you're putting me in a very awkward situation. I think you should sleep this off. We can talk when you're sober." To which he responds with, "Oh, so yeah, you and your boyfriend can totally come hang out. I didn't mean that I wanted to sleep with you. I meant that I wanted you to give me advice, but I also wanted someone that isn't you to have sex with." It legitimately sounded like, to me, that he caught on and was backtracking. I'm even more upset at this point, and now I'm questioning my girlfriend. Why does he think it's okay to talk to you like this, and why aren't you telling him to stop? She tells me that he's just drunk and she doesn't want to be mean, so she'll tell him to stop when he's sober just in case it triggers him and it causes bigger issues. Fine, whatever. We agree to do so before the day ends. I'm patient, but I make it clear that at this point, things are sounding suspicious and I need clear, definitive boundaries set for this guy. The day is ending, and she still hasn't sent anything. I bring it up and she says she'll send it tomorrow while she's at work. I mention to her that we had an agreement. The boundaries get set immediately, because this is becoming far too suspicious. I ask permission to read what she's going to send him prior to her sending it, to which she says that's totally fine. She understood that at this point, I'm growing suspicious. Her first draft is along the lines of, "My boyfriend overheard your voice messages, and he feels as though you're being disrespectful. Also, why would I want to know if you're horny? Like, that's weird lol. I don't want any issues between you and him, so I'm going to need you to stop blowing me up with voice messages and just text instead, because if you send voice messages and someone is around, they can overhear." Nope, fuck that. What kind of boundary is that? My boyfriend is upset, so he's asking you to stop, but I'm not asking you to stop. I point out that the boundaries should be coming from us, because he's disrespecting our relationship. We're telling him to stop. Second draft goes along the lines of, "What you sent made my boyfriend very uncomfortable. I get you're going through things, but like, come on. I still want to talk and catch up, but just don't blow me up with voice messages, so let's just use text. I want you and my boyfriend to get along and he's uncomfortable with those voice messages." It's clear to me that at this point, she's deflecting and putting things solely on me. So while I'm reading it, I change the text and send it. "What you sent made my us very uncomfortable. I get you're going through things, but like, come on. I still want to talk and catch up, but just don't blow me up with voice messages, so let's just use text." She's upset now. I'm being controlling. I overstepped my boundaries by changing her text and sending it without her permission, which is fair. I see that. I'm lying to her friend. She goes as far as to tell me that if he asks, or if this is brought up in conversation with him, she's going to be honest and tell her friend what happened and who sent that message, so that way she doesn't hurt his feelings and lose a friend. This doesn't sit well with me. She's more concerned with telling me I'm overstepping, being controlling, and establishing boundaries with me than just telling him to be respectful to us and our relationship. She refuses to see that there's a huge difference to, "We want you to stop," and, "My boyfriend want you to stop." She's worried that she's going to lose one of her best friends. Apparently I'm upset for no reason. I'm being controlling. She did what I wanted her to, even though I had to be a dick and type, "Send the message myself." So I need to be happy with it. I need to understand that she has a life outside of me, etc. Very quick to push back on me, very hesitant to push back on her friend. She's blaming me of not trusting her, not believing her, not considering how she feels, etc. At this point, I don't know what to do. Did I just overstep and I'm overreacting? Is she right that there's no difference between, "we want you to stop," and, "my boyfriend is telling me to tell you to stop"? What would you do? TLDR girlfriend's male friend told her he's horny as fuck and wants her to come over, just to talk. But not fuck. I ask her to set boundaries on our behalf for our relationship, which she has difficulty doing and instead wants to place the boundaries solely as my doing. I altered a text to change it from, "my boyfriend wants this," to, "we want this. My girlfriend is now upset with me, and telling me that I overstepped and I'm being controlling. Am I? Nah mate, you tried to set a reasonable boundary but she cared more about her male friend than your relationship. What does that tell you? And no, there is a massive difference between we and my. One sounds controlling and the other sounds like setting a boundary. Okay, I have been in a similar situation. Same sort of issue. His phone was getting blown up by a girl he claims is just a friend. Super inappropriate stuff. Even crying, begging him to let her come over to blow him. He refused to tell her to stop, saying he was worried about her. She is at her house with brother and cousin. When I asked him to set boundaries and tell her that wasn't okay, he told her, "My girlfriend doesn't want me to talk to you anymore." I was floored because that isn't what I said, and she immediately started ranting over text to him about me, so he blocked her number. Later I found out he called her later and told her I made him say it. They had been sleeping together on and off for years. Oh man. That response from her is not acceptable. He begged her for sex. Sent his address. She responded, "I'm with family and you're embarrassing me." I would have flown off the handle. She's cheating or emotionally cheating. You're not overreacting. She's using the whole "you're being controlling" argument to deflect from the fact that she clearly does not want to send this guy any signals that she's not available. She's choosing him over you, so you have every right to be upset. Personally, I wouldn't stay in a relationship with a woman who didn't shut down those advances in her own. Strike 1 if she thinks it's okay to text like that with someone not in the relationship. Strike 2 if I have to point out why it's inappropriate. Strike 3 if she disagrees, or wants to text back, "My boyfriend wants you to stop," and refuses to tell him on her own that she wants him to stop. Why did she say that she was with family? She enjoys the attention from him. Drunk or not. She's annoyed with you for spoiling such a good thing. This is a deal breaker for me. There's a clear lack of respect for your relationship. If it was me, I would drop her. But you were being controlling. In the future, when someone's crossing boundaries, don't try to force them to set the boundaries. Watch what they do in the moment. If they don't clear-cut respect the relationship and set the boundary themselves, don't talk to them, don't say nothing, just walk away, block them everywhere. Just be done. Maybe a bit controlling to straight up send it yourself, but if it wasn't something he was willing to talk to his sister about, then why tell your girlfriend? The way I see it is that he wouldn't tell his sister that he's super horny because that's gross, or maybe it was more the implication of her helping him with that, either by discussion or other means, was gross. He wouldn't want his sister to comment on it or maybe resolve it, but he doesn't feel it's inappropriate to talk to your girlfriend about it? Kinda sketchy. 66 female. Mother won't respect my 38 male boundaries, especially around parenting now. TLDR. My mom has struggled with respecting people's boundaries throughout my life. Now that I am a parent, she blatantly disregards what we ask of her. It's causing a lot of frustration and resentment. Throughout my childhood, my mom would disregard my boundaries. I would ask her not to do something, and she would do it regardless. I'm not talking about cleaning up her chores, etc. It is a resentment that I have struggled with my entire life to get over and accept. However, now that I have a child, she blatantly disregards, or we ask of her dismisses our requests as, "You guys are just being too strict," or, "You guys are helicopter parents." We are anything but helicopter parents. Our child is free to run around and can tackle anything that she chooses, provided that we are there to make sure that it's done safely, so to speak. Specifically regarding our child, when we asked my mother not to do something, she shrugs it off as, quote, "I'll just do it when you're not looking, or not around. Your daddy takes away your fun." Thankfully, our daughter is only 11 months old and doesn't understand what my mom is saying. This weekend I was over there with my daughter, because our house is being painted. My mom wanted to give my daughter a breadstick. I said, "No, we don't give her breadsticks as they are a choking hazard, and additionally she only eats whole wheat bread at this point." My mom gave her a breadstick anyways. Later on that night, she gave her rice covered in soy sauce. This was after I told her not to, because high sodium is very hard on the baby's kidneys. She also gave my baby cheese, after I told her not to because of the type of cheese, and because of the fact that cheese is constipating. The best one is that she brought out a bag of buttons and somehow thought it was okay to give her a button to play with. It was a little bit smaller than a dollar coin, and again I told her that a button is a huge choking hazard. She disregarded that, gave her the button, and the first thing the baby did was put the button in her mouth. Keep in mind that this is in the span of about 6 hours. There's more too, but it's similar stuff, and I'd be beating a dead horse. I told her that this is why we don't bring our baby over all that often, and she won't be by often. I told my mom that she can't be trusted to respect our rules, and I found it very disrespectful. This has been the story of my life growing up. However, it seems like she's getting worse with age. She just doesn't seem to give a fuck about what anyone asks, if it doesn't suit her. I am at a crossroads because I am quite exhausted from the entire ordeal. My fiancé is also fed up with my mom's bullshit. We want our daughter to have a relationship with her grandmother, but this is beyond exhausting. I feel, for the first time, like I need to get therapy because of the stress that my mom put me through, by not listening. Her husband agrees with me, and does back me up when she's misbehaving. However, again, she just dismisses him and says something like, "Oh, stop being mean." It saddens me that this is what this has become, but I'm not really sure how to fix this situation. I'm not sure how to even get through to her, because where I used to snap at her, I am now very calmly telling her that I'm displeased with her behavior, and yet she still continues. Anyone have any advice? Edit. I used text-to-speech. Apologies if some things don't make sense, poor grammar. Also, just to clarify, we have only left our daughter alone with my mom when we had no alternative. It's always been a supervised visit, no visit, or leaving the daughter with mom, with her husband who is very much on our side. For a while we cut the contact though for a few months. Then we saw my mom a couple of times, and she was okay. This last visit, not though. You want your daughter to have a relationship with a grandmother that has proven every time how little she cares about your parenting and your kid. It is better for your kid to have no grandmother than to have one like this. Start enforcing your boundaries, they are worthless if you don't enforce them. Your mom is a narcissist, most likely covert narcissist, and will never change. Read what you can find on the subject, some good YouTube videos, and decide with your wife how you want to navigate going forward. There have to be actual consequences for disregarding your wishes or nothing will change. A boundary serves no purpose if they're crossed and nothing happens. I don't really know why you're allowing it. You were there the whole time when your mum was going this. Multiple instances of her undermining you and you just stood there. You tell your mum she won't be seeing your child unsupervised, and you tell her if she pulls these stunts again then you'll be going no contact. She is doing what she wants because she knows there's zero consequences, she doesn't respect you. It's time to realize you're an adult as well as her child, stand up for yourself and your kid. Be firm. The first time she did this, you'd have been wise to pick up your child and leave right then. When she said she'd just do things behind your back, you now know she can't be trusted by her own admission, so no babysitting for grandma. Tell her why when she asks. When she gives your kid a breadstick after you said no, I hope you at least yanked it away from the baby. Stand your ground. If you have to put some distance between yourselves, do it. She will continue to misbehave if you allow her to. You're no longer her child, and your child is not hers. Please, the button thing was way out of line and she has proven that she can't be trusted unsupervised. Parents' jobs is to teach children that actions have consequences. Unfortunately, some of them forget when they're older. Then don't spend time with her and stand up for yourself. GF, 30 female, was still seeing others 2 months into dating. I, 27 male, am a regular on this sub and participate in a lot of threads, and my go-to advice is always break up. But here I am, and I don't know what to do here. I have been dating my girlfriend for 6 months now, and it's been an amazing 6 months really, although I know it's still honeymoon stage. We met through common friends and immediately hit it off. We decided to hang out the next day and then we both felt that we have a connection. So we decided to give it a go. The only thing she asked was that she wanted to take her time in getting to know me before doing anything physical. I wholeheartedly agree, as I also like to get to know someone before getting physical. So we started dating and it's been really amazing. She is funny, charming, caring and all-around good person. We went on so many fun short trips in these 6 months that I sometimes wonder if that was the reason of the rising gasoline prices around the world. In short, we had a lot of fun. One day we were sitting on her terrace and enjoying some popcorn, and suddenly I felt really romantic and leaned in to kiss her. She turned her and whispered softly, "Not yet," and I withdrew immediately and apologized. She smiled and planted a kiss on my forehead. Around 2 months into dating, we finally slept together for the first time. It's going great since, and we share an amazing physical and emotional chemistry. Anyways, I was dropping her off at her work one day when an old classmate from college approached me and said hi. I said hi, "It's so nice to see you." We made some small chit-chat and then he suddenly said, "We are okay, right?" I said, "Well, considering we are seeing each other after almost 5 years, I would assume everything is okay." He said, "Well, I hope there are no hard feelings about me and my GF." We never even dated. We were just FWBs, and that also ended in August as she said she was getting serious with some guy. I just never knew it was you. Now it came as a surprise to me as we had been dating since June. But I played it cool and said it's fine. I got into my car and went to my office. That evening when she came home, I told her that while dropping her in the morning I ran into an old buddy of mine and we had a nice chat. She said, "Cool, what's his name?" I told her and she was a bit shocked. At this point I point blank asked her if she was dating him and she denied it. She said he was just an FWB and they sometimes hooked up. Then I asked her when did they break up and she said in August, and I became a little irate here. I asked, "Well, you and I were dating and you still slept with him?" She said, "I never slept with him after you and I became intimate, and that's the truth." At this moment I suddenly felt really tired and just left. She came running after me, but I got in my car and drove home. Now here I am, sitting at my home 3 days later with no idea on what to do. I really like her and it could be a long-term relationship, but on the other hand I can't forget what she did. She says that once she became sure of me she cut all contact with him. I don't know, Reddit. Please talk some sense into me. One moment I am completely over it and next I want to break it off and go full NC. Help. Edit. She has been blowing up my phone and sent a lot of messages and video messages crying and asking me to meet so that we can get ahead of this. But I am not sure about anything now. Edited to add, I am disturbed right now, so I am sorry for the typo. She said she never slept with him after we slept together. Edit IDK. Why people are assuming that I have an issue with her having casual sex. I don't care what she did before she met me, but yes, it's the parallel dating with me while sleeping with someone else which really hurt me. I am a very monogamous person who doesn't even date multiple people at once, it's one at a time. I never said she is a bad person, but it just reveals a major incompatibility between us. So she asked you to wait, knew that you were only seeing her and that it was monogamous to you, while she was still having her cake and eating it too with just a FWB? And how many lies did she tell along the way in an effort to keep that going and still sleeping with him? Lies or lies by omission? Probably both. Dude. Just end it. That is who you are dealing with. Wait, she was fucking other people while not sleeping with you? This would be a deal-breaker for me. Wasn't this posted before? Guy meets girl. She asked to take it slow, meanwhile she is sexually active with multiple partners. Guy finds out and then freaks out. This whole thing sounds very familiar. She said, "Cool, what's his name?" I told her and she was a bit shocked. Her reaction says it all, she knows she was doing you dirty. You've only been together 6 months and she was casually sleeping around for at least the first 2 of them with someone else while holding you off? If you weren't exclusive, it may not technically be cheating, but it tells you a lot about her character. You can tell from her confession that it didn't bother her at all. It's up to you to decide if this is the sort of person you want to be with. Yeah, dump her. Too many major red flags. She made you wait while sleeping with another guy who she apparently wasn't even in a relationship with. Think about that. She wouldn't sleep with you until she was sure about you, but she was completely fine with getting run through by some other dude who she wasn't dating. Fuck that. She doesn't want you, she just wants to not be alone. I'm glad that you enjoyed the 6 months together, but if you were actually dating since June, not just fooling around, getting to know each other, etc., and she didn't bother mentioning the FWB situation to you ever, which does seem to be the case, you should throw this one back. How can you even begin to trust someone like this again? What happens when the honeymoon phase is over? You had no clue she was sleeping with some other guy while it was going on, meaning she knows how to hide it. She didn't tell you, the other guy did. Worse, based on your conversation with him, she lied to him too. That's too much for 6 months together. My 28F husband, 28F, hit me while he was drunk. My husband and I have been together for 5 years. We have no kids but have pets. 2 nights ago he got extremely drunk while out with friends. He was slurring his words, barely making sense, and was almost at the point of passing out. I was almost 100% sober, 2 small drinks, for context. It's the worst I've seen him since we've been together, but he does have a problem with not knowing when to stop when he drinks sometimes. Saying this, it's not a common occurrence. We were walking home and I was trying to stop him from doing something stupid, damaging something, and he turned around, slapped me around the face and swore at me repeatedly before storming off. Luckily it was the middle of the night on a quiet road and no one was around. I was shell-shocked, initially called the police but hung up as I didn't want him to get arrested, and then I organized for him to go to his parents' house while I went home. I stayed up almost all night crying and I have a bruise on my face from where he hit me. The next morning he was extremely apologetic, crying, couldn't believe what he had done. He didn't remember a thing from the night before. He has promised to never drink again, which is a very big ask considering his friends are all social drinkers, and off the back of that I have agreed we will try and carry on. However, I'm not coping very well. I keep replaying the moment in my mind and I feel so sick when I think about it. I feel like he thinks things have gone back to normal, but I feel almost traumatized. But because of this I almost feel like I'm overreacting. He has a temper and when we argue he'll sometimes throw things, but he's never hit me before and always promised and reassured me that he wouldn't. I understand that he was out of his mind when he did it. He thinks someone might even have put something in his drink, and he's usually so wonderful and sweet and kind on a day-to-day, and I love him. But I feel like everything feels tainted now. I feel anxious and panicky. I feel uneasy, and I keep having bouts of sadness. I feel like I can't talk to anyone because I don't want anyone we know to think badly of him if I am overreacting. I honestly feel like I've got no one to turn to, and that's why I'm here. I'm not sure what to do. Help? Too long did not read. Husband got drunk and hit me and now I feel uneasy, anxious and sad despite having agreed to carry on and work through it. He has a temper and when we argue he'll sometimes throw things, but he's never hit me before and always promised and reassured me that he wouldn't. Well, now you know what that promise was worth. This didn't come out of nowhere. Someone who throws things during arguments is someone who is likely to escalate to intimate partner violence. And now he has. I keep replaying the moment in my mind and I feel so sick when I think about it. I think your subconscious is trying to tell you something. Your body knows when you're in danger. You're in danger. Oh honey, I am so sorry. He physically abused you. He may truly be sorry for what he did. He may actually be disgusted with himself. But the dam has been broken now. He's hit you, he believes you have forgiven him, so now he knows that if he slips up again that it won't be a deal-breaker for you. Almost all abusers say they're sorry. Many cry and beg for forgiveness and promise they will not do it again. Very few keep that promise. It feels tainted because it is. And it will only get worse because the longer this relationship goes on, the more isolated, traumatized, frightened, confused, depressed, and manipulated you will become. It's time to let go, but please be safe about it. All my love and support to you. I know how betrayed and hurt you must feel. You put 4 extra words at the end of your title you didn't need. There is not enough alcohol or drugs in the world to make me lay a finger on my wife, and everyone should be able to expect the same. I've also never reassured my wife I won't hit her for the same reason I've never reassured her I'm not going to turn into an elephant and then do a backflip. No one put anything in his drink. He is trying to rationalize what he did without taking the blame himself. In your place, I would go with a zero-tolerance alcohol policy. He drinks anything again, you are done. If you need therapy for this, or want couples therapy, feel free to make sure this is a condition of staying together. If he didn't remember a thing from the night before, then why was he extremely apologetic, crying, couldn't believe what he had done? Wake up, girl. He absolutely knows what he did. Break up. A man never stops after one slap. I want to say, I don't love anyone enough to stay with them after hitting me, but I think the more accurate sentiment is, anyone who hits me never loved me like I thought they did. He has a temper and when we argue he'll sometimes throw things. Now you know he's escalated to hitting. This won't be the last time. I feel almost traumatized. You aren't almost traumatized, you are traumatized. He thinks things have gone back to normal. Which is a big red flag that he doesn't see beating you and leaving a bruise as a big deal. You need to rethink this entirely. You are not in a safe relationship. You are in danger. www.thehotline.org